Gauze. More gauze. A little more gauze. Edith, I love you. That's Nichols and May. If you don't know that routine, look it up. It is incredible. It's called, I think, A Little More Gauze. Anyway, hi everyone. I'm Paul Bartholomew, and this is I Want to Hold Your Band. Today's guest is legendary KCRW DJ Chris Douridas. I have been listening to his calming, dulcet tone for so many years, and it was such an honor to have him on. I mean, you name them, Chris has interviewed them. The list is too long to say, but I'll say a few. Radiohead, U2, Leonard Cohen, Ray Charles, Paul McCartney, Madonna, Beck. I mean, I could go on and on, but that would make for a boring podcast. I decided instead of digging into specific songs or artists, I would just focus more on Chris's relationship to music because he has a million songs that are his favorite, a million. He just knows so much music, and I absolutely loved our talk. If you're listening and you haven't subscribed or rated the show, I would so appreciate that. That would be amazing. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Chris Douridas.
Just in Nashville interviewing Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, the Hollies, his own solo stuff, and a very well-publicized and well-known relationship with Joni Mitchell. But anyway, I was doing the interview with him, and I didn't have the headphones on because we were just doing this really intimate conversation. I was petrified that I had not gotten it.
And no one was there. You were your own.
Yeah, it was just me. I flew to Ohio, drove to Nashville, did this interview yesterday. God, it was yesterday. No, it was Saturday afternoon. Today's Monday.
What's today? Monday. Today's Monday.
But this morning was the first time I was able to, that I had a chance to listen back to make sure I got it here in LA.
And what do you do when you go there? I
recorded it on a Zoom recorder.
Yeah.
It was from KCRW, Mine burned in the fire. So I lost it in the fire.
What?
Yeah. Everything.
Oh, yeah. Chris.
Yes, I'm one of those thousands who was newly homeless.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Surprise. So KCRW loaned me the gear. I flew to Nashville, talked to Graham Nash. And partly the reason I was there, well, a big part of the reason I was there was because I wanted to talk to him about the fires. Because I started doing a little document of my experiences in the fires. And my first little episode that I'm making of this documentation, this little series I'm doing, I wanted, in my mind's eye, I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if I could get Graham Nash to sing his song, Our House is a Very, Very, Very Fine House.
Oh.
And so, coincidentally, a few days after I'm thinking all this, I get an email saying, hey, you want to interview Graham Nash for KCRW? Like, in all these years, I've never met Graham Nash. And I was like, well, that's weird. Yes, I definitely want to interview Graham Nash. And the only way I could do it in person without being a Zoom or a phone call was to go to Nashville. So
wow.
I just got back.
How was it?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I mean, it's one of the things I wanted to ask you in so many years, and I was doing just some basic research. Do you find there's a certain amount of time in the first 5 minutes, especially with musicians? I listened to a Beck interview he did back in, and just first 93 or 95, I guess it was one of the first.
93, yeah. July 93.
And just one of the first things, especially with musicians, is just vibing where they're at, how much space and time to let them answer. I'm learning that because I'm an actor, not a natural interviewer.
That's a really good question because, well, first of all, Beck, when I did that interview in 93, had zero history behind him. He just had demos. That was it. He hadn't even released anything. So there was no body of work to prep or listen to, or there was no bios.
Right.
Because he was unsigned.
Right.
When I met him, he was unsigned. He had a few demos, and all you had to, really all you could do is, where the hell did you come from? How did,
Right.
What have you been doing? And you just had, what I did for that was I talked to the people that were around him at that time. He had a publisher that was newly signed onto him, and he had a producer that helped him with these demos and helped him record Loser. And so I could talk to them. I'm like, tell me what you know about Beck, so I have something to chew on in this conversation. And the rest, you're just going by the seat of your pants and just seeing where he's at in that moment,
Yeah. Do you try to get a sense when you look at whether it's Beck or whoever else, like, well, he doesn't want to talk about this, or he's slow to process, so give him time. Do you get things like that, or no? Do
Sometimes,
you just
but rarely over the years has anybody said he doesn't want to talk about this or that.
Right.
I think I can, I think people have learned to trust me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
there to
yes,
talk about who you're dating or,
Yeah.
a break. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm always there to kind of follow the music and the creation of it and the sort of creative choices that change their lives and things like that. you know.
Right.
I mean, these days you can find interviews and research. When I go to interview anybody that's of any note, I just read everything I can about them, even if it's old interviews from the 70s or whatever. Listen to their entire catalog, even though I think I know it. I go to the first thing they released and listen all the way up to today, just so I can hear the progression of their work, even if I think I know it.
Wow.
Like when I sat with Paul McCartney, just listen to every single song from the very first release all the way up to, to
Wait, I
now.
want to dig into that. What does that exactly look like? I mean, do you over a period of time, like do you listen in the car, at home? You just you start with one and then whenever you have time, you just listen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I try to set aside chunks of time so you don't lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
And when you're reading everything or following up on interviews or see them on TV appearances, whatever, anything I can find that has something they've said about their work, as I'm reading about them or reading the book they've written or a bio, anything that jumps out like, ooh, I didn't know that, I write that down. Because I've been around in music for a while. Anything that surprised me when I'm doing the research, it'll be surprising to the listeners probably.
Right, for
you know?
sure.
So those little surprising things that I wasn't aware of that are cool or interesting or compelling, I'll just jot those down. And at the end of kind of combing through everything that I can comb through or little epiphanies that I thought of when I was listening to their catalog, like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know there was like a hammered dulcimer on that track, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Not that, but, something about the catalog that you find interesting. You see that somebody co-wrote that you didn't know.
Yeah.
That they collaborated with somebody anything like that. And I have, at the end of the research, you have all these little things that you think are interesting.
Right.
And then you try to structure that into a conversation. I always go into a conversation with kind of a map of where I'm going to start and where I'm going to end. And that's my safety net. So I know where I'm going.
Right.
But in the conversation, they might say something that takes you off on a turn. And it's safe to leave the map because once you pursue wherever they're taking you in the conversation, you can always come back to the map.
Right.
Once you follow their little turnoffs, explore down that scenic road and then come back to the map.
Right.
So you end up you finish the conversation ending up at where you hoped to. And it's hopefully something that's kind of a really nice feeling or a nice satisfying way to close it.
To go
and
out.
then you just say thanks. By the way, this house, it's medicinal in its cleanliness and
Oh.
beauty. Who's the clean freak? Is it you? At my house, when I was recording stuff, I just go into the closet.
Oh yeah.
I just hung a microphone in there, and I'd stand between, all the shirts.
But it was just you.
Just me.
Yeah. Totally. Well, that's what
Would we not fit in your closet?
I got. We could. I did that for a long time, right?
Your wife's like, okay, Paul just went into the closet with Chris. This is.
It was with Chris Douridas that it came out of the closet. I did do that, right? I sat at that table. I was the voice for the Ellen DeGeneres show, which I saw that you did a guest star on the Ellen show.
I was on it twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the
sitcom.
Sitcom.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to the part about the toilet paper roll in the bathroom.
Was it empty? Oh, see, this. That's my bona fides for an OCD.
No. I have a thing about toilet paper.
Over and under?
Yeah, waterfall or under the bridge.
Great. See, I am not the toilet paper loader. So
This is your wife. Your
This
wife's
is
the
my-
wife's the under the bridge.
Or I think it's probably our oldest daughter who was just here. And maybe
what's her name?
Emma.
Emma, this is not going to bode well for relationships down the road. If she holds to the end of the bridge, it could be the death of a relationship.
Wait, what's it called? You said it's over the bridge?
Waterfall
Waterfall?
or under the bridge?
Under the bridge. And what is the good one?
Well, that's
you.
It's a personality thing, right? So,
Okay.
But marriages have been lost over this.
I'm under the bridge.
Are you really? See, it's the family. It's her family.
Oh, because that was under the bridge?
This was no. Your bathroom is under the bridge.
Yeah, we're under the bridge. So yeah, I
So
definitely
house wide. It's under the bridge.
house wide. Like when it's over the bridge,
The
or waterfall. It's when it's waterfall.
Yeah.
That's so funny. When it's waterfall, it makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, Paul.
I don't like
When
because
you
I'm
and-
like this and I'm like, when do I start? Like here, it's like, whoop, when it's underneath.
See, I could make a counter argument.
Go.
The counter argument is that the waterfall, when it's over the top,
Okay.
you can see where to tear it. You can see easily right there where to tear.
Okay, that's a fair point.
When you first started dating the woman who is now your wife,
Alyssa, yeah.
There must have been a point where you either discovered she was Waterfall or Under the Bridge, and you had a conversation like, "Wow, you're like me," or "Wait a second, you're doing it wrong." And then she was like, "Oh, I don't care," and you converted her to Under the Bridge.
That's a great point, because I do have to say I notice when it's Waterfall.
See,
so
and
but
I
maybe
notice when it's Under the Bridge.
Really? So you're Waterfall.
I could never marry you.
Well, I mean, even after we came out of the closet together.
I guess it depends on what happens in the closet.
Okay, let's start with the first question I always ask, which is your first memory or memories of music that came into your life. Album, artist.
Oh, man. It was my mom. My mom was a beautiful singer. So she was always singing around the house. Oh. Always singing around the house. So I suspect that when I was a baby, that she was singing. I found out this week I was in Ohio, where I went to do this conversation recording with Graham Nash for KCRW. I was in Ohio seeing my family, and one of my aunts said, your mom always had a lovely voice. When your mom and Billy got married, at the reception, she sang and brought the house down. I was like, I never knew that. My mom never shared that with me. I knew that she had wanted to be a professional singer and that she had given it up to have kids and be a mama, So that always kind of was a tough thing for me. And when I was younger in the music business, I always dreamt that maybe I could get my mom involved.
You felt that, like you.
Oh yeah. Oh. So she has a beautiful voice. She's older now and not doing so well, but I think the first appreciation of music came from her, her singing around the house and stuff. And I think that when I was around 9 or 10, we got a piano in the house, an organ actually.
An organ.
And she played, and I realized she was actually quite a good organist when I was a kid. I was like, oh, and she taught me how to play and had all these songbooks of these classic songs, so she would sing and play, and that kind of turned me onto her record collection.
First of all, it's interesting that most people I talk to like have a piano, and like nobody ever played it, but to have an organ instead of a piano.
Well, because her dad built organs.
Oh, he
my
built
grandfather
them?
built them for churches.
Wow, and this is where'd you grow up?
In Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. So yeah, she was singing all these classic songs and playing them on keyboards and stuff, and I had already been collecting 45s of pop songs that I'd hear on the radio in Chicago, because by then I was living in Chicago. But I never really got into like classic songs until my mom started playing stuff on the piano, and I started going to her record collection. And thankfully, she had a super cool collection. And you could look through the kind of oddities that I brought to KCRW over the years, and in the shows that I would do at KCRW. You can see those oddities that are directly related to the record collection she had. She had Ray Charles. And I did an interview with Ray Charles in KCRW. It was like the last interview he ever did right before he died. And she was a Johnny Mathis freak. And I have an interview on KCRW with Johnny Mathis that I went to his house to record. And she had Tom Jones. I never went to interview Tom Jones, but she was a huge Carpenters person. And Burt Bacharach was her favorite.
Really?
And I hunted Burt Bacharach out when I first got to LA and started at KCRW, and I tracked him down and did a really extensive interview with Burt Bacharach in the 90s, and it began a friendship that I had with Burt that continued on through a couple of films we worked on together, Austin Powers and Grace in My Heart, an Allison Anders movie where Burt came in and collaborated with Elvis Costello. Wow. I was a consultant on that movie, and that came out of my conversation with Burt at KCRW. And that collaboration that Burt and Elvis did was a landmark collaboration. They ended up writing a whole album together. They toured together. It was a crazy situation, because right after I had Burt on KCRW on Morning Becomes Eclectic, a couple weeks later, Elvis, who was a regular guest at KCRW, came in. He's like, "Oh man, I heard you had Burt Bacharach in here recently." I was like, "Yeah, he was just here." And he's like, "Which chair did he sit in?"
Shut up.
He's like super fan of Burt Bacharach.
That's so funny to see who is like, who like suddenly you're like, really? You're a super fan of Burt Bacharach. And
it all made sense. We talked about it at length, and how he, he's always trying to like do a Dusty Springfield in his vocals. If you listen to Elvis Costello's stuff, you can catch it. And so it was shortly after that moment with Elvis, when he was telling me about Burt, that I started on Austin Powers, and I got hired on Grace in My Heart. And the whole thing there was to bring older writers together with newer writers and have them collaborate. And so I said, you got to get Burt Bacharach and Elvis Costello together, and that's what we did.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Wait, so
Burt was straight out of my mom's record
your
collection.
mom's. Ray Charles, Bert.
Carpenters.
Why do you think she had such an incredible? She just loved music and loved to sing.
Well, because she was a singer and she wanted to be a singer, and so she had like the Four Freshmen and the Four Lads, and she had the High-Lows and all these harmony groups and stuff. And then when she met my stepfather brought in the Beatles and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Led Zeppelin, and so he was sort of the where I kind of stumbled into that stuff.
How old were you when he?
I was 10.
10.
Mm-hmm.
In your house in Columbus, did you remember the system that was like that you played it on? And
Well,
did you
by
have something
then-
in your room?
Yeah, by then my mom had split up with my dad, and so I moved to Chicago with my mom, and she met my stepfather there. So this was all in Chicago where I fell into the music stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so the console was one of those, like, I don't know, it was like a lid in the middle and speakers on the side.
Yeah.
And, it had legs. It was like an old, mahogany or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Wooden console that had the whole combo in it.
And the radio's in there.
The radio's
It's like
in there.
You lift it up.
Lift it up.
Like a
And
great
you just lay in front of it with the album gate in front of you, reading along with the lyrics or whatever.
And then how about in your room? Did you have anything in your room? Like, would you bring stuff, or whenever you wanted to listen to music?
Yeah, I had to listen to it in the living room,
Yeah.
my mom's thing. But I didn't have anything in my own room till I was like in the middle of my teenage years,
And do you remember the first?
Elton John, I got my first album in 6th grade. I had a 45. I was collecting 45s at that point. And one of the 45s I had was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And Mr. Rapp in my 6th grade class at Winnebago Elementary in
Mr. Rapp.
Bloomingdale, Illinois, knew that I had that 45 and he asked if I would loan it to him. Which is
Wait
an
a
odd
second.
thing.
Wait a
I
second.
know.
What? A 10? You're 10?
Sixth grade. So I was 10, yeah.
First of all, how did Mr. Rapp come to know that you had a 45 of Goodbye Yellow Brick
I
Road?
think
Were
you
you
heard me
about?
talking about it to
Right.
my friends, And
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Come on. Can you come here for a second?
Yeah.
Is that weird? This is an odd.
Well, it gets better. So he borrowed it. I think I brought it the next day or whatever, and I loaned it to him.
What are you going to do? You're going to say no to your teacher?
I know. I loaned it to him, and a week or two go by, and I'm like, "Hey, are you still?" Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I'll get that back to you. And it just he kept putting off bringing it back to me, and like 3 months later, at the end of the school year, I'd nudged him every week or two, and something like 2 or 3 months later, it's the last week of class, and he calls me up, and he goes, "I'm really sorry. I had left the 45 in the dash of my car."
Are you kidding me?
And he produced the wrinkled 45.
Wait a second.
It was all wavy, And I was like, whoa. He goes, but, and he reaches under the desk and pulls out Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the album.
Oh, okay, Mr.
And gives
Rapp.
me the album, which is a double album.
Oh, okay.
That was my first album.
Okay. That I got a little bit of chills on that.
Yeah.
He redeemed himself.
He redeemed himself.
You had to wait.
I was just,
You had to wait. It's a little bit.
I guess it took a while for him to save up the money for the double album.
Oh, and then he got you. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was ecstatic.
Were you so thrilled? It was like the last week of school?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. That's lovely.
I know. And that was my first album. And it got lost in the fire too, but I had
and you had it still?
I had it. Yeah, I had it. And then written in pencil at the top, property of Chris Douridas, written in my 6th grade.
Oh.
I was so proud of that. And that's why I became an Elton John fanatic.
Wow.
That was my first, my guy.
That your guy, you just got upset. You just went down the rabbit hole.
I was obsessed with that album, listened to it over and over and over again. It started skipping. I was playing it so much,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I ended up buying all the previous records. I became an Elton John, devotee. And I actually even wrote him a fan letter. I was able to tell him this story a few years ago when I met him for the first time. And I started the fan letter, Dear Mr. John. That doesn't feel right. Mr. John. And because I also knew, being a fan, that wasn't his real name.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, scratch it out. Dear Mr. Dwight. That sounds weird too, right? Dear Reg? Dear Elton? How do I?
Right.
I never got past that comma.
How did he really?
Yeah, because I couldn't finish. I stopped myself. I overthought it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to address him. And I never even got to the body of the letter. And
What would you have written?
yeah, I wish I know. I wish I could know now what the rest would have been. But I hung on to the beginning of that letter for so long. It was always tucked in my closet somewhere, and I'd come across it. Oh, yeah, there's that letter. that I never finished writing. And then 5 years ago or something, I was invited by Amazon to do this career-spanning conversation with Elton John.
And you told them the story?
I told him the story.
You said, I never got past
Yes.
Dear.
He thought it was adorable. But
That is adorable. First of all, I find it so interesting that you went for a theater scholarship. That's why I put, I grew up in Flower Mound, Texas, which is right near Denton, which is, you went to UNT, is that right?
so my mom started dating this guy in Chicago, the man who became my stepfather, and they got married, and for their honeymoon, they went to Corpus Christi, Texas for a honeymoon. This is while I was in my first year of high school.
Why did you choose Corpus? I mean, I guess beach.
There was a big story in the travel section of the Chicago Tribune about Corpus Christi.
Oh.
And so they, being impressionable, said, let's go to Corpus
Hotspot.
Christi. Yeah. And they went to Corpus Christi for their honeymoon, and they bought a house and came back and told us
Wait, like to move to or a vacation house?
to move to. They came back from their honeymoon and dropped the news on us that they bought a house and that we were moving this upcoming summer.
At what were you, 12 or?
I was my freshman year of high school.
Oh my.
I had all these plans. I was going to go to Northwestern. I was going to study theater there. I was already doing plays in the middle of high school. And I was like, I don't want to go to Corpus Christi, Texas, But that's what they did. We moved.
Wow. And so is that how it got on your radar?
Texas. Yeah. So I was in South Texas, and they didn't have theater there to speak of. I mean, you can imagine. So I got involved in the speech department at high school.
Wow.
And I ended up being very competitive all through high school in South Texas, doing dramatic interpretation and humorous interpretation and duet acting and all that, and toured the country in speech tournaments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I got really good at it. I won third place in nationals doing a scene from Equus.
Wait, are when you say speech competitions, were they like dramatic, like you would do monologues?
You do like monologues.
It was like a debate.
But you're playing all the parts. Oh. Like you're standing up in front of a room full of judges. And you don't know NFL, the National Forensics League, speech tournaments?
I didn't. I mean, in Texas, I did the UIL competition.
Yeah, we did UIL too.
Yeah, but I did that with other
That's
people.
Plays.
I
That was
never,
like one-act plays.
I never did it on my own. I had a friend, Jay Lund, that did that in Nebraska, and he would go and do one.
We were like a powerhouse team. We went all over the country.
That must have been so much fun.
It was amazing, incredible, and it was so great for my confidence because I was winning all the time, And I ended up getting a theater scholarship to North Texas.
Do you ever miss acting?
Well, of course.
Do you? At what point when you switched over?
That was going to be my life since I was in first grade. That's what I was going to do. That was my life.
So I have an interesting, this is a quick, cosmically, I told my wife, to me, something crazy for me. I was a history major at University of Texas. There was an event on television that was so moving to me. And it was so moving to me because the opening score, which was, I was obsessed with it, right? I was 14 years old, and the television miniseries was called North and South.
No way.
That score, so when I looked up and I saw you, and I was like, oh, he's in it. And I looked up, it's like, oh, McClellan, that's an actual Civil War general. And so I was like, oh, I remember really liking that. So just last night, I then put on the opening to that. The score is by Bill Conti. And do you remember that opening, that score?
I mean, if I heard it, I would go, oh, yeah. But I confess no.
So it was so moving to me, and I got so into the Civil War, and I was so obsessed with it. Wow. I decided to be a history major at University of Texas. And because of that, I did research for a professor at the end that was a Civil War historian, and he gave me a recommendation letter he knew Agnes Nixon, who was the All My Children creator, and because I wanted to get into music and music supervision. And so I went and did an internship there in New York because he wrote it because of history, starting with North and South. Anyways,
Wait, and you found all this out after you already agreed to do this?
I literally last night.
So you had already prepared to talk to me and
yes,
and didn't put it together that I was in part of that show. Wow. I actually have some stills from behind the scenes that survived the fire because
really?
I took a trunk of some stuff, and it's all North and South stuff. And we shot that in Natchez, Mississippi, and I just thought I was on top of the world.
Did you audition in Texas?
I auditioned in Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was just I was still in school.
Whatever it was, it swept me up, and it was like for the listener, a television miniseries event like Shogun was,
Roots.
or
Yeah.
Roots,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a big.
It was huge.
It was huge. Yeah.
It was.
I mean, you probably were
all-star
like,
cast.
I'm going to the top now. Like, you
Well,
probably-
no, I didn't think that, but I did think, yeah, I was meeting, I was hanging out with Patrick Swayze. And James Reed and these guys and stuff. And everybody that had any notable speaking role was a star in
Yeah.
that show. And so to actually have a character in that, I was on it for the first 2 nights. I was in the first 2 nights.
Actor to actor. I just watched that scene. You did a very good job. It's very hard with smaller roles, like when I do guest stars and things, timing, because it's so much about timing as much as about acting. It's like you're coming in and you have to get them when they're like turning, and you did a really good job.
Well,
I was
thanks.
impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah. One more general question before I go into specifics about some of the choices, which I know for you, if anybody I sent it to, you're like, really, you're going to make me like, I know all the music in the world, and you're going to make me pick some.
I don't know all the music in the world, because every day I'm discovering stuff, old and new, that I've never come across before. And every radio show that I do has stuff I've never played before.
It's an endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what keeps it exciting.
So is there I'm curious if there is a genre that you have an affinity for, like that you get pulled toward?
I will take issue with the word genre. I despise that notion.
Tell me about it.
And I am the first one to avoid naming a area of music after a word that somebody would call a genre. Think of your favorite record stores. Most of them, I can think of exceptions, but most of them alphabetize music by the artist name. If they put it in bins like, oh, that's spoken word over there, they're doing that to help the customers. When you read an article in a magazine and a journalist is describing somebody and they're using genres to describe somebody, they're doing that to help the reader, because they can't put the needle on the record and play it for you. So they have to describe it somehow.
Right.
It's a magazine. It's a newspaper. They can't play you the music. They have to find ways to describe it to you. And the way that they've come up with to describe it to you is by putting music in these silos and then assigning these silos to an artist when they try to describe them to you in print. Why on earth in the world of radio would I reach for a term to describe an artist? I can just go, this is Art Blakey, and press play. I don't need to tell you what it is.
Right.
And I think it's an insult to him to even call it jazz. It's Art Blakey, for fuck's sake.
Right. Yeah.
Think about your favorite artists. What are the Beatles? Are they rock? Well, if you take the word rock in the way that most journalists use the word rock, yeah, sure. But there's classical music in there. If you want to start throwing genres in there to describe the Beatles, there's country music in there. Rocky Raccoon, what is that? Folk music? I don't know.
Right.
There's marching band music. There's, Indian sitar in there. It's world music. It's the Beatles.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell. She has a collaboration with Charlie Mingus. She's rock. She's folk. Really? I don't think so. And when you talk to any artist, if you start describing them as a genre, they're going to shut down immediately because it's offensive to any true artist. What is Beck? Beck's everything. He's a kitchen sink. The other thing is, if you go to any of your friends' houses and you look at their record collection, it's everything. I mean, when I was growing up, you'd go to anybody's house, everybody would have West Side Story, everybody would have Jesus Christ Superstar, everybody would have a Beatles record, everybody would have, Marvin Gaye or whatever, the Grease soundtrack, or,
Right.
all these albums that everybody had, and they're not one style of music.
Right.
Everybody's record collection is eclectic. And the interesting thing is, and this is how I would start casting DJs at KCRW, when I was hiring the DJs there in the 90s, I would go to their house, look at their record collection. If you took all the music that you love and put it into a radio show, the fact that you love all that music starts to have its own sound. It's your sound.
Right.
It's your taste.
Right.
And that's all I'm doing. I'm just playing stuff I love, and I have to find a way to make it fit together. But if there's one thing that everything that I play has in common, is that I love everything that I'm playing, But I wouldn't know what to call it in terms of a genre. Couldn't do it.
I love that. I take that point. First of all, is that a shared, with any of the KCRW DJs or people, music? You said artists. Do people share that
Disdain for genre?
a disdain for genre? Yeah, yeah.
At KCRW, my colleagues?
Your colleague,
Every one of them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's like a thing. It's like, oh Jesus.
It's a pet peeve of mine. It really is. It's a total pet peeve of mine. And you're not going to hear it from a musician, generally speaking.
I walked right into that. It's good though. I like it. What I don't know is what I don't know, though.
No, it's fine.
You know,
I am a proselytizer.
I love it.
Shout it from the mountaintop.
That absolutely makes sense to me. Do you feel the same?
Look at Elton John. Look at Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, for example, the album that I was talking about earlier, my first album. Song to song. I mean, Texan Love Song is on there. That's a country song. You sing it like this, Every other song is a different musical palette that he's bringing to the songs and the records,
Yeah.
Sorry,
I love it.
I'm on a soapbox here.
I love it. I love to. It's about learning
who
and growing.
Who are your favorite artists? Let's try one.
Let's see. Right behind you, one of my favorite artists is Nancy Griffith.
I just played her the other day.
You did?
I did. I played Love at the Five and Dime, the live version.
Oh,
the County Fair.
I've got that album.
Oh, that song.
Oh,
Love at the Five and Dime. She wrote it.
Oh,
she wrote it. She's such a sweet, sweet woman.
The one letter I wrote. Did you talk to her?
Yeah.
The one letter I wrote, I was in Austin, Texas, going to school, and I saw her at the Beacon, and she was going to play there. And my first entry into her was Other Voices, Other Rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my gateway drug through her.
Well, the John Prine thing she did on there.
Yeah. And that was my gateway to so many different artists, even side that sang with her, Iris DeMent, and finding out about Emmylou Harris. And that was a gateway. She was a gateway drug. And I went down. She was signing things at Waterloo Records.
In Austin.
Oh, yeah, in Austin. Yeah. And I had written a letter to her. And I was going to go. I'd never done anything like that. And I don't know if I passed it off to her. It's like, your music is so moving to me. Yeah.
She's adorable.
Yeah, it was so tragic that she passed. Is listening audiophile kind of thing, is that something important to you, or could you give a shit?
You'd be shocked and appalled at how I listen to music every week when it's coming out.
How?
On my laptop with my headphones.
But you have
even before my house burned, I didn't have any fancy sound system at home. Because here's what happens. I work in radio. I have a radio show at KCRW at least once a week. These days I'm on several times a week because I'm getting called in to fill in all the time, which is great. But when I know I'm going to play, I kind of sort out what I'm going to play for the show. I know I'm going to get a chance to listen to it in all its glory when I'm there on Sunday and I do my show.
Right.
And I've got the speakers full blast. You should come down there sometime when I'm doing the show.
I would love to come down. I would love that.
Yeah. And that's where I get my, get it out of my system listening.
Because is that equipment like?
Yeah, the equipment's great, and I'm also putting it in, in the fabric of all these other things I'm loving, and it becomes this radio show before my very ears.
Right.
And I get to hear it that way, and it's never going to sound that great, even in my car.
Right.
It's so.
Yeah, it's more utilitarian when you're listening to things. It's like, okay, I'm kind of sorting through it.
I'm planning.
Yeah.
I'm not like listening for my own pleasure. I'm finding things that turn me on, and then I'm putting them in a folder for or a playlist for my show. The
nature of an eclectic show is like, how do you assemble that? I've got a clue now. Like, you don't care about you disdain the word genre, so you don't care about that. So how do you kind of assemble?
Well, I'm pulling together each week. Like today, when I leave here, even though I don't have a show until next Sunday, my next show is scheduled for next Sunday, but all the way up leading till this coming Sunday, whenever I hear anything anywhere or come across anything or something pops into my head that I feel like I want to hear that I haven't heard in a while, goes into my notes for what I might want to play on Sunday. It might even be at a restaurant or something and hear something and Shazam it, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You Shazam
how
it?
Great that is, yeah. Because I Shazam it, then I have a document that I heard it and I can go back and look at what I Shazammed, like, oh yeah, It's sort of my filing system.
That's great. Do you use that a lot, Shazam?
I use Shazam every day, all day. And then, sometimes it's because I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's just to remind me that I heard that I want to play it. But mostly, as you probably know, my show's is mostly new stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just new to me, something that I heard from the 40s that I never knew existed, it turned me on. I don't think about like, oh, well, there's all these different sounding things. How am I going to, that's what the exciting part about doing the show is, because then I have this bucket of things that I know I want to include in the show somewhere. And then figuring out how they fall together is if there's any art form to it or if there's any kind of useless beauty to it, it's that. It's
And what is that? Like, how do you
how do you
decide?
figure it out? Well, I always want to start the show with something super compelling, which could be something up-tempo and just exhilarating, or it could be something extremely poignant and emotional, or somehow begins the show in a curious way. So I always want to start the show with something great. And then before I put something on the radio, I listen to how it ends, So, or if I'm planning the show, I'm like, okay, I know I want to start with this track. Well, how does it end? And then you hear how it ends. And then I just think, what would sound amazing right then after that? And sometimes I don't know specifically what it is, but like if I could find something that starts with a really soft piano, that'd be great. And then I'll kind of go through and
Will you kind of listen to the beginnings of songs that you've kind of accumulated?
Then I have all
Shazam?
these things that I know I'm going to play, and I go and listen to the beginnings of them until I find one that, ooh, that's going to be great. And if there's nothing in that bucket yet that would go nicely after that, then I have to dig more. Or if I think about piano, I might think, maybe something sort of Chopin-like, and I'll go looking at Chopin. And then you'll just... I plan a lot on Spotify. And so you might hear something that's close, and then you kind of go to song radio for that song. And then I might find something, and it'll trigger my memory about something else. Eventually I find things that way. If I hit a wall creatively, then I'll go down song radio rabbit holes of things that are either close or in the world of what I'm looking for.
How many songs is usually I know length of the song depends, but you're like, I need to have this, like, do you think like, I got to have 23 songs?
No,
usually
because I usually have more than that, and they don't always make the show.
Oh, they don't. So you always...
I'll save it for the following show.
Right.
But there are things that I definitely want to get in. You know, and those are the things that I'll forward promote on the show. Like I know this is going to come up. This is going to come up. So I'll say, hey, stick around. Sometime in the next hour you can hear this or that. And those I have to get on. But then the rest I make it up. So whenever I put a song in the air, I just have to listen to how it ends. So while it's on the radio, I'm thinking that ending in my head.
Okay, last question, and I'll let you go. When you first hear a song, it's new, you're listening on your laptop with your headphones, which I assume are nicer than my $10 headphones. What's the first thing when you hear music? I know what I hear. Is the first thing you hear, and it can be, the answer is a lot of things, but when I've talked to people, they hear lyrics first and nothing else, or some people hear music too.
Absolutely music first.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll go years and years and not know what a song is about because I'm not thinking about the lyrics.
I feel such in good company.
I was playing Dirty Back Roads by B-52s once on the radio, and for the first time, I'm like, this is like 20 years after I've been playing this song on the radio. Oh, this is about anal sex. I had no idea.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I know it's a trek out here, and it was a delight to talk to you.
I'm honored that you asked me, and it was that cookie made it worth it.
Yeah, my pleasure.